There used to be a bit of honour, didn't there, the sort of thing. To get into a position of power, particularly one of the government, well, you really had to be exemplary. That's the problem. You see, now we live in an age where, well, it's their truth, my truth, anything but the truth, clearly. And what we have over here right now in the United Kingdom is literally a person who is in charge of the purse strings. And apparently it's okay to lie. And I tell you what's even more fascinating is, who did she lie to? More importantly, who did agree to it? As ever, let me explain. Morning, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for your time today. It is a big thing, isn't it, when you now live in a world where, the truth becomes their version of the truth. And this is now the problem for the recent birthday girl, the very first female Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves, a title that she likes to bandish around quite a lot. But what an embarrassment this title's now become, and what a history she's now going to leave behind. As I mentioned here before on the show, the bigger problem now for Rachel is the fact that she's fudged and messed around with her CV online on LinkedIn, which is a portal site for your CV. And now apparently, she's not quite sure how long she worked at the Bank of England. There's discrepancies about, her past expenses, even her credit card while in Parliament. You couldn't make it up. And yet this woman apparently is supposed to be clever, a former economist. Well, apparently that's what she's saying anyway. Where it gets even more interesting, and you have to look into this, is simply the fact that clearly, somewhere along the line, the current British Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, basically says that he's 100% backing this particular individual. Now, one might suggest, of course, when you're handing out those pivotal roles inside your government, you might want to look into the people, your lieutenants, that you believe are doing the right thing, the best thing for you, the sort of thing. But clearly, he says that he's satisfied that everything was above board. So the question really is, did he bother checking, or did he agree to the fact that clearly Rachel Reeves has fudged, lied, whatever you want to call it, on her CV? Yet, she's apparently doing a terrific job. Now, here's where it gets even more difficult for the people, because inside the British Labour Party, which is part of the current government, there are rumblings on the backbenches, and more importantly, rumblings for the people that now have to go out and face the public. You see, it's all very well for our Rachel, dubbed Rachel from Accounts, to sit down here in Westminster. She doesn't have to go amongst the public. She has 3 houses, a Grace and Favour apartment, and all the heating, lighting and food that you can pay for. Oh yes, you're paying for the privilege of having this charlatan inside number 11 Downing Street. Now again, where it gets even more fascinating is behind the scenes, the local MPs are going to get a barrage of abuse, and apparently this is not what they want. It's not what they signed up for 7-8 months ago. They were told, of course, that this is a party of change, and more importantly, not just of change, but a complete change of the way that they run politics. It was going to be transparent, open, clean. It's been anything but. But more differently now for Sir Keir Starmer, it's going to be either him or Rachel, because one of them truly has to fall under the chopping board. And as you can see, there are 2 very powerfully ambitious people that are basically saying, it's not me, Gov. Now, have you noticed, of course, the other people in the background, like the current British Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, has yet to come out on social media to defend her chum, Rachel Reeves. In fact, nobody's coming out in the government to defend her, because they know it's a ticking clock and simply a matter of time. Whatever our Keir thinks, quite frankly, the public have had enough of being lied to. And more importantly, as this woman takes us further and further down a rabbit hole of destruction, where next? If Rachel thought she was clever with figures, how clever is she going to be when it simply doesn't add up that she's been caught out lying? Either way, it's only a matter of time. Neil Sean in the very heart of Waterloo Station, London.